Hey, good Monday morning and welcome to your Monday Morning Moment. Well, the inspiration for today's video comes from one of my devotional reading books, this one right here, Uncommon Life, Daily Challenge by Hall of Fame football coach Tony Dungy. I've talked about him before. But before I start, I want to give you a quote. See if you can figure out or think of who might have said this. Are you ready? Here it is. So, I find this law at work. Although I want to do good, evil is right there with me. Who do you think said that? Would you believe that it was the Apostle Paul? Yes, Paul, who made this declaration in his letter to the Romans. Unbelievable. What Paul was basically saying, I think we can all relate, is that even though I have every intention of doing good, inevitably I end up doing wrong. Okay, I think that's something that many of us can relate to. And if you're someone that's trying to stay intentional in your faith journey, like we all are, this is something we struggle with every day of our lives, isn't it? Why is it that we end up doing things we know we shouldn't do? What is wrong with us? Well, actually, Coach Dungy asked that same question, and here's his answer. Stick with this. What's wrong with me is that I am a very flawed sinner and very fertile ground for the subtle wiles, evil plans, and devious ploys of Satan. What's wrong with me is that in my humanness, I am bound to fall short of the glory of God and the standard of His Son, my Savior, whose example I try to emulate. Well, there you go. See, in our humanness, we have absolutely no chance of measuring up to the perfect standard revealed to us by Jesus. So does that mean we should give up? Of course not. So I want to give you some perspective and encouragement, and to do that, in honor of Coach Dungy, I'm going to use some sports metaphors. So here we go. You might recall a couple of years ago, I did a video on the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance. As a reminder, the movie is set in 1931 and uses golf as the foundation for the story of a lost soul seeking redemption. Yeah. In a pivotal part of the movie, the savior figure, played by Will Smith, reveals to the lost soul character, played by Matt Damon, that golf is a game that can only be played, not won. Think about that. And in this case, golf is really a metaphor for life. Life is a game that can only be played, not won. What's interesting is that in the movie, there's also the real-life character of Grantland Rice, who was a preeminent sports writer of his day and a guy that had lots of great quotes. And I always go back to one of his quotes when I feel like I haven't measured up. So here it is. Are you ready? For when the one great scorer comes to write against your name, he marks not that you won or lost, but how you play the game. Yeah. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is this. Don't ever be discouraged. Because of Jesus, God gives us grace every time we fail to measure up. But there is one more thing. And I'm reminded of what my dad used to say to me before each one of my high school football games. He would look me square in the eye and he'd say, make sure you leave everything you've got out on that field today. I mean, isn't that what our coaches expected? And that is what the great scorer expects from us every day of our lives in this game of life. So I would urge you, today, tomorrow, this week, in the game of life, make sure you leave everything you've got out on the field. And that's a wrap. All right, everybody, as always, may the Lord of peace Himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with all of you. Stay strong, keep the faith. We'll see you right back here next Monday.